Hi, folks. Dan Shikia. Ani, Pache, Ciego. I'll follow on the hunting video. I'm sorry it got interrupted by an elder. I have to give respect to the elder and give him precedence to my craziness of doing videos. On the hunting and issue that I just posted, or when it gets posted, ASMIN 9 hunting. So, excuse me, where they were letting off on the government creating a policy, a harvesting policy related to the Métis Nation of Ontario, because they created another. It's a little bit subterfuge because they created this hunting policy basically because they were still under the contractual agreement because of the court case on contract law. So they're implying that the only people can hunt is the Métis Nation of Ontario. And as a lot of people know, they've created a framework agreement. They've called a Financial Administration Act. That is much the same as what they've done with the Federal Assembly of First Nations, where the Minister of Justice is controlling the funding and all the operations of the AFN. But what I want to talk about in regards to the provincial harvesting policy, it's basically subterfuge because they can't state a policy that they created many years ago when the Daniels case, which is 2 years ago, definitely stated that there's a change in the way they perceive Métis and what Métis can and cannot do, and who is a Métis. So the hunting policy, by delineating they're following the dictates of the Poly case, well, the Poly case is basically null and void, and there's new rules and they haven't revised their policy. Also saying that they're following the policy of the Daniels, or sorry, phones, I forgot to turn it off. Following the Daniels, or sorry, the Poly case. Well, the Poly case, I just lost my frame of mind with regards to the call. The Poly case rules don't apply to the hunting policy because there was no Métis Nation of Ontario prior to the court actions where Balcourt created a new political lobbyist group and found people who weren't associated with any community, created communities, and this is his words in the testimony of the Poly case. You can research and find it where he says literally he finds someone and they create a community and then they adopt them in the community. So that is not historic. So that's not historic. So sorry, I got the phones ringing like crazy today, so I'm going to ignore them and finish this off. So the whole issue of Aboriginal rights for harvesting is up in the air again. I'm trying to have a meeting with the Ministry of Natural Resources to straighten this out because they're basically not actually telling the truth in a lot of ways. And so therefore, truth be known, we will find out. We do have hunting and harvesting rights guaranteed by the federal government, and the new Supreme Court, the Supreme Court decisions of the Daniels case identifies that the only one who can deal with the new Indians, us, is the federal government. And when you look at the Fisheries Act, etc., a lot of those rules and the Migratory Bird Act are actually federal regulations that are administrated through the provincial, but they're still federal regulations. So at least on 2 counts, fishing and hunting migratory birds come federal, and we've already got the approval by the federal government through the Minister of Health that we can practice our traditional hunting and fishing. So we have some real serious issues to talk with the government, and again, they don't want to talk to us. So it'll be an ongoing battle, probably well past my lifespan, but you got to do it, and we're doing it. So you have a wonderful evening. Just food for thought. You can research those different things. I just can't remember what the court case of the M&O when they got hunting and fishing rights. I know they made an agreement with Ontario OMA, Ontario Métis Aboriginal Association, as trial runs, and the Métis Nation of Ontario trial runs at that time. And for whatever reason, I believe some of the senior officials of the M&O got themselves arrested for hunting, and I don't have all the details. And then they went to court, and the judge says you have to give them these rights because that's what is said in your contract. Again, that's something that people can research. There's only so much research I can do after the fact. It's hard to keep track of all these different areas, but that's why it's difficult for Aboriginal communities to assert their rights, because they cannot really come to the capacity, especially when they're funded by the government, to tackle the government and all these misrepresentations and these assertions which aren't based in legal fact. So have a good evening. Thank you. Bo Mak Bi.